is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I look yellow. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are talking about permitting in Baton Rouge 70817. Super exciting episode. A lot of people have been looking for permits. This one was, again, submitted by a customer. They chose to remain anonymous. Happy Tuesday, Mr. Tim. But thank you so much for submitting this. If you are watching, you know who you are. We're going to let you know all the information you need to be set up in Baton Rouge. But before that, as always, let's talk about a few things. Where's Mallett? This one is something we're super proud of, you guys, because we have 116 jobs going on this week, and that was just as of yesterday. So it's mind-boggling. 116 jobs, 82 in Louisiana, 31 in Texas, Mississippi. We have 3. The logistics behind this, you guys, is mind-boggling. As always, look at all these dots. This is everywhere where something is happening that involves Mallett this week. Now, we have buildings in construction, materials on the ground, inspections taking place, plumbing, forms, concrete, finishers, gutters, red tags being fixed. Look at everything happening, you guys. I believe that is a new record, Mr. Tim. I haven't seen 116 on there in a while. 116 is a really cool number to me, honestly, so that is an amazing job. 82 jobs, almost 100 just in Louisiana, you guys. That's insane. Check out all these dots, and honestly, I don't believe that's all of them. Some of these cities have multiple jobs going on, so that may be the discrepancy there. However, we are in places like Leesville, Iowa, Branch, Lockport, Bush, Grosse Tete, Denham Springs. I don't know why I chose that word to pronounce. That's the hardest word. Scott, Ragley, DeQuincy, Gonzales, St. Martinville, Abbeville, Youngsville, Brobridge, DeQuincy, Raceland, Borg. You get the picture, you guys, all over Louisiana, and we're proud of that. The logistics are crazy. Now, going over to Texas, we have 31 jobs going on in Texas. You guys have been on fire lately. The amount of customers that have been calling from Texas, insane. Thank you so much, Texas, for showing out. But we are everywhere from Orange, Hemp Hill, Sweeney, Burkeville, Liberty, Van Vleck, Santa Fe, Beaumont, Columbus, Heathville, Oakwood, San Leon, China, Winnie, and the list goes on and on. Now, you've seen Where's Mallett. Let's talk about why Mallett. This is one of my favorite sections because it really breaks down the nitty-gritty of what's going on in the industry. Now, as always, the Rival Series. What is the Rival Series? This is a building that we have created here that is essentially built to match the industry standards, what most other builders are offering. So, just based on our research, things we've seen, things we've heard, and, just industry knowledge, this is what the average post-frame construction building in our area is built like. And that's going to be 29 gauge metal, 4-on-12 roof pitch, 2x6 trusses. They tend to be common trusses. 130 mile an hour wind rating. They're not going to have uplift control or post pads. You're going to have 2x12 headers, 3,000 PSI concrete, no ground protection, limited warranties, and number 2, untreated generic lumber. Now, Tyler, why would you offer this building if it's not as good as a Mallett building? Let me tell you why. As we said, this is what most of the industry is going to be offering for a building like this. So I hate to use the word compete, but we want to be able to give customers in a lower price point an option to have a building built by Mallett. Understand the Rival Series, for example, is not a Mallett building because a Mallett building is going to have these updated specs over here, which we'll go over shortly. But what it will have is an affordable price point, and it's still a good building. Industry standard is a good building. Not going to lie to you, it is something worth looking into, and it'll get the job done. But if you're like me and you want a little bit more from life, a Mallett Classic, our entry-level building, blows the Rival Series and the industry standards out the water, you guys. There's no comparison, and I'll tell you why. Standard across the board, starting with the Mallett Classic, we offer 26 gauge metal, again, standard in every building. That's going to be stronger, thicker, and more durable than 29 gauge. We also have a 5-on-12 roof pitch, so for every 12 feet this way, we're going up 5 inches instead of 4. So do the math, depending on how big the building is, that's a large difference in ceiling height on the middle, and because we use cathedral trusses, you're going to have a lot more headroom towards the top, and that bottom piece, there's not going to be the common flat truss stopping your headroom. You're going to get a lot more headroom. Now, we have 2x8 scissor trusses or cathedral trusses, whichever term you prefer, it's the same thing. And all of those trusses are going to be third-party inspected. What does that mean? We have a company that's third-party, they're out of state, they come in often, very often, and they not only inspect our trusses, but the entire truss plant. They make sure all the wood is of quality and it is what we say it is, which is number one, MCA ground treated kiln dried lumber. They inspect that, they make sure the stamps are there, they make sure everything is up to what we're saying it is, and they verify everything we say. Now, that being said, the wind rating on the roof system with the 512 roof pitch, the 2x8 scissor trusses, the 2x12 headers, all of this and more works together to create a 170 mile an hour wind rated roof system, which is amazing. That is far beyond anything I have seen elsewhere. And honestly, it's a lot better than even some regular stick-built homes. Now, the Mallett cable lock system, the pride and joy of a Mallett building, the reason we have never lost a building to a hurricane in our 27 years, the Mallett cable lock system. If your building has this, rest assured. Now, let me tell you what it does. The Mallett cable lock system, which is a series of 1/8 inch aircraft cable that spans the perimeter of the building and connects post to post inside the building. And then when your 4,000 PSI concrete slab, a 4-inch in the Classic up to a 6-inch in the Elite, when that is poured, it goes on top of these cables, which is on top of a moisture barrier. So you have ground, moisture barrier, cable lock system, concrete is poured on top. First off, this keeps the guesswork out of it keeps the guesswork out of the uplift. What I mean by that is all that concrete is pushing down on the weight of these cables and preventing uplift. What is uplift? That is, say you have a door malfunction, a window malfunction in a high wind scenario like a hurricane here in the South. We're very familiar with these, unfortunately. But when that wind rushes in, it wants to rush up and back out, and it's going to push up on the building almost like a parachute. Now, if you're not locked down, as most buildings are, they're going to be placed on top of the concrete. They're going to be just sitting there with a couple bolts, couple screws here and there if you're lucky, and chances are it's going to get taken away. I've told you guys before, we had a shop when I used to live out in Grand Lake that was obliterated, taken away, no sign of existence after Hurricane Laura. I wish we would have had some kind of cable lock system like Mallett has here, but we did not, and now we are shopless. But I say that to say the Mallett cable lock system is a shop saver and a budget saver, and it's standard on all buildings. Now, concrete under every post, as I mentioned, that's going to be 4,000 PSI concrete. It's going to go under every 6x6 post we have, and that's going to prevent unwanted settling and shifting of the building because you have a concrete foundation, not just in the dirt or gravel. 2x12 headers, we mentioned 4,000 PSI concrete. Of course, skirt board guards for ground protection. We're going to start off with a 4-year workmanship warranty, you guys. Most people are doing a limited 1 to 2 year, if you're lucky. We start with a 4-year because we are that certain in our work, and this is our entry-level building. Now, in-house engineers, you met Mr. Darrell yesterday. He is one of our engineers here, and they're going to verify everything, making sure it's not only up to code standards, but our standards here at Mallett. He's going to be reviewing the building, the design, making sure the trusses are spaced properly, the whole gambit, and everything he does that I'm not entirely sure because he does a lot. But all this is going to happen internally to make sure everything is stamped, verified, and good to go from an engineering standpoint as well, meaning you get a fully, truly engineered building. Now, that's why Mallett. Let's talk about when you're ready to buy your building. Now, if you are a teacher, educator, military personnel, first responder, or healthcare worker, or a superhero in all of these, you can get $500 off your Mallett building just for having the career you have. What you do is important for not only us as people, but the community we live in as well. And we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do. And to do that, you're going to get $500 off your next Mallett building. Now, if you're watching, which I hope you are, I assume you are if you're here hearing this, you can comment cash and get $1,000 off your next Elite or Signature building when you're getting your next building. Now, this does not apply to specials or promotions, I'm sorry, but $1,000 off your Elite or Signature building just by commenting cash. How cool is that? Now, if you fall into one of these superhero categories, you can bundle that $500 with this $1,000 and get $1,500 off your next Mallett building. That's a big savings, you guys. Now, speaking of savings, January specials and promotions. Can you guys believe we're already in 2026? It just flew by. Now, an elite special, you guys, limited time offer. We have 3 different categories here. Let me go over those. We have a 30 by 50 by 12, or a 40 by 50 by 14, or a 40 by 60 by 16. Now, Tyler, these are different numbers and they're not normally the ones we see. Why is that? Because this month only, you can pick your eave height and you get a 10-foot gable extension for free. Now, pick your eave height. What does that mean? You can get a 30 by 50, a 40 by 50, a 40 by 60 by 12, by 14, by 16, whatever height you want in this range, you guys, 12 to 16 feet, your choice. If you want a 40 by 60 by 12, go ahead. If you want a 30 by 50 by 16, go ahead. Your choice, you guys. Mix and match how you choose. Now, the 30 by 50 by 12 is going to be starting at $43,998, the 40 by 50 by 14 at $53,958, and the 40 by 60 by 16 at $62,598. Now, what comes in this deal? What makes it elite, you guys? Let's talk about that. Number 1 grade lumber, of course, and we're going to have the 6-inch 4,000 PSI concrete slab I talked about. This also, in the elite, is a microfiber reinforced slab with control joints. Now, that microfiber is going to go back to what we're talking about. It's going to take the guesswork out of the concrete. It's a lot of times you're going to have rusty rebar and metal that the mesh they set in the concrete. And a lot of times people water their concrete down to send it further back or to save a little money on their end. But when they do that, and often more times than not, that mesh is going to sink to the bottom and you're really going to have no stability of that inner working of the concrete because that mesh isn't doing its job because it's sank to the bottom. The microfiber goes throughout the concrete and it's going to create a lifetime security because it is intertwined in the fibers of the concrete and the microfiber, reinforcing your concrete all the way through. You're also going to have the cable lock system we talked about. 150 mile-an-hour wind rated building when you have an elite building, you guys. That is 20 to 15 degrees mile an hour faster or higher rating than the classic. So you see the improvements there. You're going to have, again, 170 mile-an-hour truss system, the roof system here, concrete pad under every post. You also get post protectors included, you guys. Post protector is going to prolong the life of your post near indefinitely. Now, 5-on-12 cathedral trusses, as we talked about, engineered building. You're also going to get 2 3x5 windows included, gutters all the way around your building included. That also comes with gutter brushes, which keeps all the debris out of your gutters, making cleaning so much easier. You're also going to get a 10-year workmanship warranty, you guys. So we talked about the classic. Now this is the elite. This is our top tier building. Now, don't just take our word for it. We always talk about this. We have over 685 reviews between the BBB and Google, and we're very proud of that. Go take the word of the public. People who have had an experience with Mallett buildings, let them tell you what they think about it. So we're super proud about that, you guys. Now, the 10-foot gable extension, again, that's free. Pick your eave height, no extra charge. This is up to a $17,000 value if you use it the right way. And we are super excited. We want to see all the different combinations you guys come up with and get yourself into a Mallett building. How cool does that sound? Now, the Cajun Oasis Classic. We've told you what comes in the Classic. Check it out. The Oasis also comes with full insulation, an electrical package, and a climate control package that includes a 5-ton unit. This in itself, plus that's all a $16,000 value. We're just giving money away. But 30 by 50 by 12 that comes fully insulated, fully electrical package. That means you can turn the lights on right when we're finished, and it's heated and cooled. Here in Louisiana, you need both of those in the same day, usually the span of an hour. But for only $49,999, you get this oasis of a building. We were walking through one today, and I tell you what, you would think it is a normal building because this thing was just, it was perfect, you guys. It was awesome. The AC was kicking. It was a little warm at some point today, but you know, it's Louisiana. We'll have the heater on tonight too. But you could also, if you want a little bit of an upgrade, ask about spray foam. We have the option to do that as well. Now, you've seen the Cajun Oasis Classic. Of course, we have a Cajun Oasis Elite. Same $16,000 value thrown in there for free, plus all the elite features that we just talked about. And look how beautiful that building is. Another feature to talk about, the optional wainscoting, because I think that's beautiful. It's not for everyone, but it's an option that's included free of charge on the Elite. For $59,999, you can get a 30 by 50 by 12 Cajun Oasis Elite. It is the Mac Daddy of all buildings, I think. It was probably our best seller. I'd have to check the numbers, but quote me on this. I believe it was our best selling building last year, you guys. 2025 was the year of the Oasis, apparently. We want 2026 to be the same way because we think these buildings are awesome. We even brought it back for this year. Now, the 5 red flags. We've told you about everything you need to know, and when you're going to make your decision on who to build your building with, there's some extra things to look at that you may want to consider when choosing your builder. Let's get into those. Number 1 is years in business. You can check that at the Secretary of State website. We understand everybody starts somewhere, but you may not want to be somebody's first build, and we understand that. Here at Mallett, we've been around for 27 years and counting. We're very proud of that. But if you don't see them on the Secretary of State website, that may mean they're not a licensed business, which is a whole other issue, and actually brings us into red flag number 2, licensure. Even if they are a licensed business, you want to make sure they're licensed to do the work they're promising to do. There's commercial contractor licenses, there is residential licenses, there are industrial licenses, a whole gambit of everything, and you want to make sure they have those correct licenses so they can legally work on your building. You can check that out at the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors or the LSLBC. And while you're there, you can check out if they have any contractor violations. We are proud to say in those 27 years of business here at Mallett, we have 0 contractor violations, and we're very proud about that. And if you do happen to find violations and they weren't disclosed to you beforehand, that could also be a red flag. If them having the violations in the first place wasn't enough already. If they'll break the law once, the chances are they'll do it again, and we want to save you from that, you guys. So make sure you do your due diligence. The LSLBC can help you out. Now, reviews of the BB in Google, we've talked about this just recently. We have over 685, pushing 700. We also have an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau, so as far as they're concerned, and the majority, 4.9 stars average out of our 700 ratings almost. I'd say that's a pretty good public perception. So go see what people have to say, read the good and the bad, because honestly, most people don't have 5 reviews, let alone 685. So make sure you check that out and see what the public has to say. Now, visit the contractor's facility, red flag number 5. Why is this a red flag? Because a lot of people are doing business out the back seat of their truck, out of the front yard of your house, and they don't actually have a building. What does that mean? Now again, everyone has to start somewhere, but if they don't have a location, an office, a rented space, something, it may mean they're not in it for the long haul. And do you want to take that risk? I don't know. That's up to you. Your level of risk is your level of risk. But it's cool to be able to come here at Mallett because you can see where the entire building is produced. Everything until the point where it is shipped to your location and becomes on-the-ground materials happens here at Mallett. We have the gutter operation, the roll form plant's coming soon. It's looking amazing. We have all of the electricians, the plumbers, the concrete things here. We have the storage area, the loading facility, packing plant. We have obviously the truss plant, which is huge, you guys. Come check that out. It's state of the art. There's robots. How cool is that? If you want to take a virtual tour, we have that on our YouTube channel. One of our salesmen, AJ, did a phenomenal job walking through with some meta glasses. It was actually super cool. So after we sign off today, go check that out on YouTube. I promise you're going to enjoy what you have to see. But if they don't have a facility, it could be a red flag. Because what happens when you have a facility, you have people at the facility. And that's what we are so proud of here. We have so many people, from the sales team to the scheduling department to the people who are going to be pouring your concrete. Mr. Lee is here, Trent's here. Everyone who is involved in your process is here on site, and I promise you, they are more than excited to be here and shake your hand and talk to you and help welcome you to the Mallett family. So these are 5 things to consider before you build your building. I hope you can take those to heart and make those choices educated. Now, permitting guide in Baton Rouge, 70817, what you need to know before building, you guys. Before you're under construction, you need to have some permits. Let's talk about that. So, who issues permits? In this area, the City of Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish. Permits and Inspections Division is going to be the one to talk to for this. This applies to most of the zip codes 70817. Accessory buildings and post-frame structures are included. So anything that's accessory or post-frame, which pretty much covers everything we'll be doing here, is going to need to be permitted, and you can get that with the Permits and Inspections Division if you are in the majority of this zip code 70817. Now, do you need a permit? Accessory buildings over 200 square foot? Yes. Barns, garages, shops, post-frame buildings? Yes. Any structure with electrical, plumbing, or HVAC? Yes. And structural additions or modification? Yes. So unless you're building a 100 square foot little room without AC, without plumbing, without electrical, you're going to need a permit, you guys. And trust me on this one, we've seen it far too many times. Don't lie to the permitting office, because if they come by and check it out, or years down the road and they record paperwork, all this, whatever it may be, you try and sell the property and they see that it wasn't properly coded, there's going to be issues, and we don't want you experiencing those issues. Trust me, you're going to need a permit. Now, the biggest permit delays we see in the 70817 zip code. These are things to look forward to. Write these down. These could be hurdles in your future if you're planning on building in this area. These are ways to avoid that by being properly informed. FEMA flood zones are common. This is Louisiana. Baton Rouge is it's on the water, basically. And you're going to be in a flood zone most likely. If you're not, that's phenomenal. But flood zones are very common and can cause delays. Elevation certificates may be required. I can almost guarantee if you're in a flood zone, you're going to need an elevation certificate. Those take times most of the time. Now, slab height matters as well. It falls into elevation and flood zones. Also, drainage and runoff reviews can apply. They want to make sure the structure you're building is not going to impede in the drainage or add to unnecessary runoff and affect those and the environment around you. All these things can cause delays if you're not properly planning for them. We want to prevent these delays. Now, zoning, HOA, and placement rules. We've talked about this in almost every category of this topic here, you guys. Setbacks from property lines, that is how far back and over you are from your property lines, front, back, and the sides. You gotta have certain distances you are able to place your building. Now, height and size limits, you may be required to keep your building under a certain height. That will definitely affect if it's a 12-foot height, that's 14-foot heights. If you want a 16-foot height, but the permitting office says you can only have 12 foot, I'm sorry, my friend, you can only have a 12-foot height. Now, most must often be behind the primary home. This is going to depend on the area and what you are building, but oftentimes in this area, I'm sure with exceptions, you gotta be behind the actual primary home, and that could impede your plans. Keep that in mind. HOA approval is separate from parish permits. Anyone who lives in an HOA knows there are times where the HOA has completely different rules and guidelines, and those are going to be necessary to follow as well if you're in a subdivision or an HOA guarded area. I know Mr. Tim hates HOAs. I'm pretty partial to them. It's usually the people who run them that make them but they keep the homes looking pretty. But they also can help, or they can also make your permitting process a little more difficult. So if you plan on adding on, check with them to see what you have to do to make those to their code and standards. Now, how permitting works in Baton Rouge. You're going to be using the online portal, the My Government Online or MGO portal. So online, I know for me, that's a fun process. It keeps going up to a government office, talking to somebody in person, which isn't always the best, but I'm sure their permitting office is great. So plans are uploaded digitally, so make sure you have a scanner or take good photos, but you're going to be uploading these plans digitally. If you're part of Mallett, we also supply you with all of these plans and everything you need to bring to permit office. Now, revisions, reset, review, timelines. This is something we talk about and I harp on a lot because it's so important. You're going to want to make sure you keep revisions to a minimum. Every time you revise your plans, you're going to have to resubmit them and get them reapproved, which takes more time, and often it can cost a little bit more money, and we want to save you both of those headaches. Now, incompleted uploads equals delays. make sure you follow your checklist. Make sure you follow the guidelines in which they are asking you to upload things and the documents they're asking you to upload, because if you don't complete those uploads, it will cause delays and extra work on your end and the people helping you. Now, while we talk about permits, if it's not obvious, permitting is incredibly important because it is the station, it's pretty much the hub of approval. It makes sure you can do everything that you want to do, and unfortunately there's governing bodies that are going to tell you if you can or can't. This is to help you navigate that and circumvent any issues that may arise. But while we talk about permits, most delays aren't the building. It is the people involved in the process. And what that means is, again, just like this previous slide, incomplete uploads, revisions, not having your plans ready. Again, here at Mallett, we supply you with a full document booklet of all these things you need. However, a lot of times it falls on the people involved and timelines that aren't properly managed. Their permitting details. We talk about permits because you deserve to know the details and what's going on. We help clients plan for this up front because we believe full transparency creates a safer and more comfortable environment and process of the building process. It can be a headache. We want to prevent that as much as possible. Fewer surprises equals a smoother build, and I say that equals a happier customer, which is you. And we want you to be as happy as possible, not just with your building, but with the process as well. Now, helpful local contacts. The City of Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish, this is who you're going to want to call. The Permits and Inspections Division. It's located at 300 North 10th Street in Baton Rouge, LA 70802. The number is 225-389-3205, or you can visit My Government Online, the MGO portal, and get set up that way. Contacting the appropriate office early can help clarify requirements and streamline the permitting process. I tell you that, guys, this every time I do the permitting segment. I personally believe in great communication making a great process. I think if you call up front and just ask, what do you need from me to make your life and my life easier? I'm pretty sure your permitting office would appreciate that. Anyone in the Permits and Inspections Division in East Baton Rouge or Baton Rouge, verify if you're watching this. But I'm pretty sure they would appreciate if you asked, what do you need from me? This is where that checklist comes in. This is what makes a process smooth, but contacting and keeping that communication open is key. Now, local contacts, more helpful local contacts, FEMA Flood Map Service Center, msc.fema.gov. This can help you know if you are in a flood map. I'm also partial to LSU Ag Center. They have a phenomenal flood map on their website as well if you are not able to navigate the FEMA website. But this is again used to verify flood zones and elevation requirements. This can help avoid those unwanted surprises in the future if you didn't know you were in a flood zone. Now, that's going to be our show for today. If you enjoy what you heard, or you were someone who's already purchased a Mallett building, we want to invite you to join the Mallett Ambassador Club. What is the Ambassador Club? Well, it's a club of ambassadors, and an ambassador is someone who has purchased a Mallett building and is willing and wanting to show that building off to the people around them and answer questions for potential customers. So say someone is in the Baton Rouge area looking to build a building, needing help with the permitting, and you also live in the Baton Rouge area and you've purchased a Mallett building. First and foremost, thank you for trusting Mallett with your building needs and choosing us as your builder. If you are someone in the Baton Rouge area, and say the individual who suggested this area and is looking into building a building needs help and wants to know a little bit more information, but they want to hear it from the customer who went through the process as a consumer instead of the builder, which we totally understand. That's why we have the Ambassador Club. You, as an ambassador, would be able to answer calls, and if you want, you can show them your building and show them what a finished product looks like because they're in your area. What does this mean? This means you have a more direct line to customers and to be able to achieve referrals from our referral program. Anyone who refers a building here at Mallett receives $200 if that person has purchased the building. Now, if you're an ambassador, you have the chance to have people sent to you, which means it's easier and more doable to make that $200 and 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? You as a Mallett ambassador, but you get the drift. So if you have any questions about the Ambassador Club, please comment Ambassador and we will send you as much information as we can, and hopefully we'll see you soon there. Now, that has been our show today. Thank you so much for watching. There's Mr. Trent. I'm Tyler. We hope you enjoyed yourself and learned something. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave us a comment or give us a call at 337-214-0428 and visit us online at www.mallettbuildings.com. We'd love for you to check our website out and see all the cool stuff we have going on. I'm Tyler. Thank you so much. If you have any permitting requests, drop your zip code. We'll make sure to get to those as soon as possible. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.